It's your time to renew, rebuild, and restore with Rebirth Podcast. Let's go!
It's what you've been waiting for. The Rebirth with your host, Shay Marriott.
Let's go!
And Eli Isabell.
Hey, happy Monday, Rebirth family. Thank you for tuning in tonight, man. It's your boy, Eli Isabell, a.k.a. The South Got Something to Say. What up, Rebirth? What up, Philly Jams 95.3? We are in the building, y'all. Tonight, we have a great show for you, man. I am sitting. First of all, it's just the fellas tonight. No ladies. We even got a man working the boards tonight. It's just the fellas in the building. No, I'm kidding. This is not the all-male review. However, man, this is the fellas tonight. You're going to get this male perspective tonight. And, man, do we have a topic for you. But before we get into that, I want to introduce my brother, who is a friend to the show. He has been on 4 Rebirth Live shows. My man, I've known him since he was knee-high to a June bug. Young fella, that's country as it get right there, ain't it?
That's it.
Yeah, well, y'all represent that. But my guy, man, please give it up for Mr. Corey Wilkerson.
What's going on, everybody?
The Thinker.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
That's the title.
That's the title. I'm going to try to think less tonight, but I'm going to be all right. We're going to have a good time tonight. What's going on?
Chilling, man. Glad to have you.
I appreciate it. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
First time
yeah.
in 2024, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, first time in 2024. So.
But it's early. We got you early.
You did.
So you already know what it is.
My New Year started on February 1st. January was crazy.
We appreciate that. Yeah. Listen. Shout out to Shay Marriott, man. She's not here with us tonight, but Corey definitely going to sit in. And you know Corey gonna Corey. So y'all just want to pay attention, put your seatbelts on, buckle up as we get the show cracking tonight. In a second, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be talking about. Man, fellas, chime in. Please comment in the comments. It's gonna be crazy. And yeah, we're gonna get it popping, man. But before we get started with that, got a little something for you. All right, welcome to the South Got Something to Say segment here at Rebirth. This is where your boy gets into all things Eli. So tonight, man, I want to take a second and talk about Ernie Edward Henry. I'm sure nobody watching the show knows who he is except my family, but that is my brother-in-law who passed away 2 weeks ago. And I wanted to get into something about this gentleman. When we were at his funeral, everybody was speaking about him, and it was a very funny funeral because he's a very funny guy. And one of the things I talked about, and he had his things going on, but one of the things I talked about was one of the most important things I learned from him. And I think this is an underrated lesson that I don't think we all value it. But one of the most important things I learned from him was what not to do. I think that we put so much value in what people are teaching us. They're giving us nuggets. They're giving us things that we should, take and run with and to thrive and to move forward. But one of the most important things I learned from him was what not to do. And at his funeral, I thanked him for allowing me to move here to Delaware. I moved into his home with my sister. And, and I'm here today because of him. So for that, I do give him mad credit. I think I am the man I am today because of my experiences with him and who he was as a man. And but I learned what not to do from him. I learned empathy. I learned patience, and I'm talking about a lifelong 20-year military person that I moved into with. Man. It's a different level. Living with somebody like that. So I learned empathy. I learned how to be a leader by watching what I thought from him was not being a great leader. And this is not to discredit him. Again, I give him all the props in the world because he didn't have to allow me to move into his home. But I say all that to say that I think that we need to, learning what not to do is just a bigger nugget that you can file and hold on to is learning what to do. I learned how to be a better leader in my life and in my job and within my family because of what I observed from him. I learned how to treat people because of what I observed from him. So when we think that things are all bad, I think God puts us in a place where we can always learn something from the worst situation, where you think like, this is crazy. Like, why am I here? Because I didn't have to be there, but I'm glad I was able to stick that out. And even still with some of our differences, I thank him for allowing me to be here. I'm a college graduate twice over. I come from a small town, poor. I mean, God is good to me. I'm doing well now. But who knows if I would be in this place if I didn't have to experience him. So for that, I do thank him, but please take stock. Think about what it is when you're going through something, because there are things to learn even in your darkest moments. So yeah, that's sort of what the South got to say tonight. Corey, anything you want to add to that, brother?
Yeah, I think my condolences to you and your family. Anytime that you lose someone, especially a leader or somebody that you look after or you look up to, it's impactful to your life, whether you're young or you're grown, right? And it's so crazy. Like, it feels like a lot of people are leaving in 2024, like early, right? Yeah. And it's a lot of that generation that is leaving out. But we're the better for it because of their lessons and things like that. So I would agree with you that there's always something to learn, and I think that we have to take that into consideration with our own children. Right, because they could be sitting behind these microphones in a few years talking about us. And one of the things that you kind of touched on when we started talking about the funeral and then some of the stories that was talked about is like making sure that we live our dash. Right, there's a time that you're born and the time that you leave here, and what you do in between that time is going to be impactful. What is the story that's going to be told about you when it's standing over you, right? Oof. And that's impactful. So condolences to you and your family, and then congratulations on you finding growth inside of some of the things that you witnessed, because we all do, me included. So.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, when you're going through it, you don't see that this is everything's a learning opportunity. And when you're a kid and when you're a young adult, when you're in your 20s, you just think, oh, they dirty, they did me wrong. Yeah. And we don't have the wherewithal to see the lesson within when we're being done wrong, whether it be by a family member, whether it be by a woman or a man or whoever it is. All those things are some of who we become, and it makes us better, hopefully. And some of us, it breaks. Yeah. So for the people who come through that, salute for the people who have struggled from situations from their past. Man, seek help. You know what I mean? That's what I would say.
Seek help and seek the solution, right? Sometimes we have to be solution focused, like when you kind of talked about that and talked about some of the things that we do because we see certain things. Like, I grew up just watching my brothers. I got 4 brothers, 3 sisters, a host of cousins and uncles and all that type of things.
Sound like a missionary, brother.
Yeah. But watching them, and I'm just like, and then also friends, I'm like, like, when I get married and I have kids, like, I don't want multiple kids by multiple women. Right?
Yes.
I got a vasectomy at 25. At 25. Right? So, like, me and my ex-wife, we split. And I said, that's it. Like, I'm not going to have another kid by anybody else. Right? So, but I took care of it permanently. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you went there?
Yeah. So, but that was part of, like, the trauma from seeing some of the things that went on in your life and the drama that comes with. And I'm like, hell no. I don't want to go through none of that. Right? And I never wanted to explain that story. I remember one time I was in a barbershop and I was getting my hair cut when I had hair. And I witnessed one of the barbers the first time his kids met each other.
Oh, wow.
And the 2 baby moms came and dropped them off. And just the dynamics inside of watching that, I was like, that can never be. I couldn't fathom. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, one left, one came like 5 minutes later, then the other kid met, and they were like looking at each other like strangers. And he had to explain to them who each other was, and I was just like, nah. That's
at the barbershop?
At the barbershop. It was just crazy. So I was like, nah, I don't want to ever have to tell that story.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
this is what frustrates me about us as black men. Like so why are your children meeting each other for the first time at your job?
Over Wendy's.
That's insane to me. Like, and I know there are barriers. I know that maybe this baby mom ain't rocking with that one. So there are barriers.
Yeah, for sure.
But that should not be the first time they met. If you went and picked one up and picked that one up, listen, I need you to meet your brother. Yeah. And we're having a meal in the park or whatever. But I don't know. I just listen, man, I wonder who raised a lot of these men. And granted, I didn't have my father, but I had men around me. Saying Ernie, I had men around me. I had coaches. I had other men that were influential in my life. That even if they didn't talk to me, I observed how they moved.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like dudes today, like, ignorance is just okay, and this is what it is. It's like cool to have all these kids everywhere, and these kids are connecting in weird ways.
Yeah,
and I think sometimes after the death of the father.
Yeah, for sure.
Even
I think
worse.
We talked about it in one of the rebirths, right? You talked about it. I think Bishop might have said it, right? It's like you have to be accountable to somebody as a man. Mm-hmm. And I would never want to have to tell that story to my mother or my brothers or my dad. It'd be like, yo, my kids met in the barbershop, and you know what I mean? Like, I would never want to have to tell that
That's
story.
a hell of a story to tell somebody.
You know what I mean?
Have to regurgitate.
Yeah, so like to tell that story, I just always wanted to be as clean as possible. Again, we go through trials and tribulations and things happen, and who knows what he was going through. Mm-hmm. No judgment on him. I just know I didn't want that to be my story. You know
no judgment on him, because Nelly, my friend Janelle Evans, you want to call her birthright. My friend, and then we're gonna wrap on this. My friend Janelle Evans told me, she used to always have this saying when I'd be talking to him in the horn. She used to say, "The power of decision is your own."
For sure. Yeah,
it's up to us. No one's gonna make it for you. God's not gonna come and intervene. It is on you as a human being, as a man or a woman, to make those decisions. And I used to be like, whatever else, but I knew deep down inside it made hella sense.
Yeah, you just
know
can't
what I'm
give
saying?
that.
I didn't want to
Can't
give it
give
to her
that credit.
at that moment. But listen,
not in the moment.
Listen, man.
Later.
Thank y'all right now. Listen, that concludes the South Got Something to Say. We're gonna get into our topic tonight. Oh my goodness, fellas, we want to hear from y'all in the comments, man. Tonight, I can attest to this.
Well, tell it.
I've been there. Do men
Yes.
have better sex with emotionally unstable women? Clear. Corey Wilkerson, what say you, my brother?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes, right? No shame in that. It's, it's the answer is yes. Like, you look back over your life and all the experiences that you may have had or not had. Maybe it wasn't a lot, but that's true, right? And I think it's no shot at what the instability of the woman is. I just think that what are the reasons for why that happens, right? It could be whatever their situation is, or the reason why they connect to sex in a certain type of way brings that guard down that we all walk into a bedroom and are guarded with, right? Mm-hmm. In the healthiest relationship, you don't necessarily have the best communication. You can communicate your butt off until you get into the bedroom, like, I need you to move it to the left. I need you to move it to the right. But they don't have that problem, right? They go in, they go all in. They're very vocal about what they want or not. They just go for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, those conversations and those experiences are very different. However, I will say, the lesson in some of that is, somebody once told me, a wise person said, you like crazy until you can't control it. Right? So when you walk out your house and you're sitting on your car, you got a problem. You know what I mean? Or they can walk out your house and crying, emotional.
Yeah.
You in trouble. And you better answer the phone when they call you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the answer is yes is the short answer. It probably is. But once you break that down, which I'm sure we will at some point,
Yeah.
it all boils down to some type of lack of something is happening, and you have to communicate what that is, because what we don't do great as men, we like it in the moment until we got to deal with the consequences of.
Yeah. I think that so my answer is yes also.
Okay.
Some of the best I've had in my life. La vida loca. Like crazy as Rockford and Metalwood stacked on top of each other like crazy. However, I think that what we didn't understand then is that we're dealing with women with these traumas. These women are showing up with trauma, and they're showing up with low self-esteem. And the one thing that they can control is how good they you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that becomes a priority for them because the rest of this is my thoughts. This is not factual. This is not. We did do a poll, and 50% of the men did agree that some of the best sex they ever had has been with crazy women. So another 50 said no. For I don't know, they didn't get the right crazy one.
Yeah.
However,
dodge that bullet.
Yeah, I think women show up with these issues and these traumas from past relationships, from how they were raised. And I think that's the best thing in that moment for them. That's the best thing they have going. And they exercise the hell out of that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they know that emotionally and mentally, they might not be where you need them to be.
Yeah.
But because we're so silly and shallow and fickle, if you appeal into the eye, and I've met some fine women that were nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you look good and you got that good, we'll rock with you knowing. Because you ever have sex with a woman, and as soon as you reach your climax, you're like, damn, why did I do this?
Yeah.
That's the when you slept with the crazy one. Because you know. It's all, your mind is cloudy up until that point. But as soon as you release, it's like, damn, why the hell did I do this?
Yeah.
And you over there doze off, and you look up, and she's like this.
You like, yo, how
Like,
do
yo.
I get her to get the hell out of here?
Yes.
But you can't tell her to leave.
And you can't leave her house.
At all.
She got that lock that's locked from the inside, like she got the key.
Or the dog is sitting by the door. Where you think you going?
But it's something about that that emotional instability, and you know what, we're making light, but it is sad because I know I run into a lot of women, and at the time I didn't see it as low self-esteem, and I didn't realize me dealing with them meant my self-esteem wasn't in the best place.
True.
Because any person that takes advantage of a person with low self-esteem, when I say take advantage of, I mean just like use them for what you need them for.
Yeah.
And you know they have low self-esteem, then you're not a great person. I used to have this friend, right? When I was in college, we go to the club. There's this club down UD called the Underground.
Okay.
And right off of Cleveland Avenue. And I'm dating myself with my age right now. But anyway, we would go down there every Thursday night. And every once in a while, somebody that get lucky, they'll bring a girl home to the crib. You meet somebody first night,
get lucky.
you do
That's
your thing.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But this dude, every night, he would bring a girl home. We would go 4 deep in the car. We would come back 5. It's always some chick in the car. And I was like, yo, how you bag a chick every Thursday? He said, yo, you gotta peep out the girls who are over there holding the coats all night. I was like, what? What? He said the girls that are not getting asked to dance, her girlfriends are all out there. She's over there watching the coat and the purses. No one's approached her all night. If I don't get the one I want, I already peeped her out.
That's crazy.
So club closes at 1. By 12:40, I'm making my way over there.
That's crazy.
We getting all these coats off of her, and I'm getting her to the dance floor. And he's in her ear. She ain't had no attention all night. Before you know it, she's in the car with 4 dudes. Going back to the crib. I used to be like,
you don't see stranger danger inside of that. You in the car with 4 dudes.
but some people prey on people with low self-esteem.
Very true. Very true.
And he will always, the next morning, he will come out and be like, yo, shorty was good. And I used to be like, yo, but she seems so, like, not together. Like, why?
You know, it's crazy. We were talking about this topic initially, and it was proposed that way. I couldn't relate. Like, I could relate to, you having sex with mostly unstable women, and you find out later that sometimes, because they dress it up really well, right?
We all do. Yeah,
we dress it up really well until you get to that point, and then you're like, oh, shit. Like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
You're probably going to go back, right? But I will say,
Beeline.
But preying on somebody that you know has that type of issue is an issue for me.
Yeah,
like that's crazy, right? Like you already plotting. Like I know she gonna get this.
She over there holding the coast all
wild,
night.
Yo. Like that's crazy.
That's a
crazy.
different level of I don't give up.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
level.
Like you don't.
Yeah,
it's like shorty over there, and she could be, cute, but her girls are battered. They getting all the attention, and she's over there holding the coat.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, damn, it must suck to be the coat holder.
The coat holder. Yeah.
You over there watching the purse, you watching the drinks. You're her.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And dudes prey on that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Or when you going through like a breakup, like you talked about like the work husband, right? Like he's going through your breakup, you going through these whole situations, and they plotting on it. They just waiting, they listening to all your issues, and they just wait for their moment to just sneak in and just grab it, right? But I think you touched on a good point earlier when you talked about just us as men also. So like taking it off the women for a little bit and looking at us as men, we're not always in the most stable place emotionally either, right? Because what is okay, so we got it and we didn't realize that it had a lot under the wrapper, right? But you're gonna go back, right? And you start to entertain that. So what is it inside of us that's saying, like, why am I entertaining this headache, right? So like, what would I tell my son, or what would I tell my daughter, or what are some of the things that we are dealing with, right? So like, I was looking up a couple of stats, and it says that the CDC reports that 1 in 71 men have been raped at some point in their life.
That's 100.
Right? 1 in 71. 1 in 6 men have experienced some type of sexual violence in their life.
Wow.
Right? So you can connect it to that. You talked about the control that women want when they get in the bedroom. Sometimes men want that mental control as well, right? So that's why you're plotting on these women, or that's why you're taking some of these things. Or sometimes you may have a need for this level of connection or this level of control for yourself. So we have it in a different way. It may not necessarily be on our sleeve the way we wear it.
Yeah.
But it shows up in different ways. And I think that we talked about like relationships and things like that. Women, my advice to you is also, we talk about we want a man that is standing up for us and is able to jump in front of certain things for us and is holding us down. And all that's great. But you also have to be careful what control and protection looks like. Because control and protection looks like control sometimes, right? And you don't know what he's dealing with, that he's doing this and standing in front of you and I'm taking care of her and all of those type of things. But he has deep issues inside of himself. Yeah. Now you're his possession. Yeah. And that can turn violent real quick.
Let me tell you something. I think a low self-esteem man is 10 times worse than a woman with low self-esteem.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? I think that what women don't realize sometimes, and why we do some of the weird shit we do when it comes to taking advantage of people or trying to get that emotionally unstable, great sex. Yeah. There's a lot of dudes out here with mommy issues.
Yeah.
That gets overlooked because all we talk about is women with daddy issues and stuff like that. There's a lot of dudes out here that hate their mom. Their mom wasn't there for them. She was emotionally unavailable, or she might have been abusive. So your first interaction with a woman is horrible.
Yeah.
So now you take that energy into your dating world.
Yep.
It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's grossly overlooked. Men out here 100%. with mommy issues.
Yeah, and I think that's super important. I think that again, to your point, it's always reversed and looked at in a different way. But women, you have to be out here and asking intentional questions as well. If that's the type of time you're in. Now, the other reverse is maybe you ain't looking for no relationship. Maybe you're just looking for that one night.
And that's okay too, ladies.
And that's okay, right? But
be yourself.
But a soul tie is very real. And with the energy that you're bringing into your relationship, or you're bringing into your room, your house, your bedroom, your sheets, is real, right? Because it doesn't end typically there. Yeah. Right? It's either it may end with that one woman, but it's gonna show up in other behavior. Because you're like, that was like, I'm gonna go for the next coat lady at the next club because that was easy. That was like shooting fish in a barrel, right? So then you have a pattern of behavior, right? So I think that for us as men, not only do we have to address our issues as well, right? But we also have to make sure that we are holding ourselves accountable to being adults. And I don't think that sometimes we don't like to be adults. And I think that's men and women. It's not just us as men, but we have to really be adults. be accountable to what you're doing. Be accountable to what you signed up for. Because a lot of us like want to, throw rocks and hide our hands.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's super important for us as well.
And it goes both ways. How many times have you heard a woman say, "Oh, he's a bum, but he put it down in the bedroom. Like he don't work. He play video games all day. You become Yvette from
Baby Boy, right?
Baby Boy. He drops you off at work. He's riding in your car all day. I mean, listen, the soul ties and great sex is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like if you are a woman, if you've never been sexed right, then you will deal with a joker who ain't nothing because he's making you feel something you've never felt physically in your life.
100%.
So I think, we all have to be careful. Women have to be careful of that because there's some dudes that they know they got good D game and they take advantage of that.
Yeah.
They hit it one time and next week they living with you.
Yeah.
They got their big dirty ass Timbs at the front door. They done
PlayStation
brought
5
the
in the room.
PS5 over there on your flat screen. Your son can't even watch TV. He gotta watch Mortal Kombat all day. Or what's the game everybody play?
Yeah.
What's that one game? Fortnite. How you know? You don't got no man to do that? Okay. But your son gotta watch Fortnite like it's a TV show.
Or y'all sharing Netflix passwords. Let me go ahead and put my Netflix password on your account. But speaking to that point, though, we talked about men, right? So 1 in 71 men, right? And we talked
That's
about 1 in
high.
6. Yeah, it is.
It's a big world out here.
Think about women, right? 1 in 3 have experienced some type of sexual violence.
Wow.
Right? And that's that's the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
CDC says 1 in 5 have experienced some type of possible rape.
All right, we have one more here. We could do a poll. But we can't. But you know what? So what does it say about us? Like, why are men out here forcing themselves on women? Because there's so many. Like, when I hear celebrities, when people be accused of rape, and of course, I'm a father of 2 girls, and I have 3 sisters and a mom. So of course I give, if you say this happened, I would never dispute what a woman says. But on the flip side of that, I just wonder why men who will have women throw themselves at them with no problems. Why are you out here taking vagina? That's crazy to me.
I don't know. I can't speak to that at all. Like, I don't understand like the level of sickness that comes inside of that, right? But I think that you bring up a good point. I mean, you think about like the last 3 months. You have the situation with Diddy, right? Last 2 weeks you had the situation. You read the article on Vince McMahon, WWE?
No, Vince too.
Vince stepped down as the chairman and CEO of WWE because he had a claim filed against him, right? And if you read the court documents, it makes Cassie's look like nothing.
Sheesh.
Now, this was with one woman, right? Now, once you read it, he was supposed to give her a certain amount of money. He did not give it. And here we are.
Yeah.
Right? Now, but when you read the documents, it's insane. Like, I had to, stop reading it, right? Or stop listening. I was listening to it on the pod, right?
Was she an employee of the WWE? Or just a random?
I think she was an employee.
Okay.
She wasn't she was working there, not like a wrestler, but I think she was doing something
behind the scenes.
Yeah. So it was crazy, and I think that the thing is that we talked about accountability earlier. On both sides of the table, right? Sex is a very lucid thing that can happen very quickly, right? But you always have to pay attention to what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Right.
Because when it's over, 10 minutes, 3 minutes, hour, whatever it's going to take. Now you got to deal with the consequences of your decision, right? And what that brings to you, right? And you have to, but there's red flags that happen that we ignore quickly.
Absolutely.
Both men and women, we just ignore them. Like, it's like, all right, we'll get past that, right? But you can't do that because at the end of the day, accountability is going to come one way or the other.
Right.
You know
I agree. And you know what's really crazy to me? So one of the things that, as far as to stay in the same lane for a quick second, then we're gonna hop back. I think about Bill Clinton. For those of you old enough to remember when he was the president, and he had consensual sex with Monica Lewinsky, who was a White House intern, whatever she was. And Donald Trump has been accused of rape, and so they impeached They tried to impeach Clinton because he had consensual sex because he cheated. This is where we are in the world now. Donald Trump has been accused of groping women, unwanted sexual attacks, and he still gets to run for president. Like, where are we at in a world today where somebody can have, he cheated on his wife, but that's a him and Hillary matter, as far as I'm concerned. And they even tried to use that to, like 20 years later when she was running for president, as something that, why she shouldn't be running. Like, where are we at today when that's almost, and most people that are conservatives, the Republican Party, that's where they quote unquote evangelicals are. They overlook everything this man does for the sake of to vote for him. Like, this shit is real crazy to me. So where are we today when you can be accused of sexual attacks and these things, and you still get the privilege of running for the highest office in this country?
Because it just shows you how far white privilege goes, number one. It also shows you the level that people will go for power and to keep that power in-house, right? He had to pay he has to pay $83 million to this lady.
That's crazy.
Because he won't keep his mouth shut. Right, accusing her, she accused him of sexual assault, saying that it didn't happen, right? So just because he just wouldn't shut the hell up, you got to pay $83 million. That's crazy that you even have to have that case to go in your account to have $83 million. But at the end of the day, my whole point, to answer your question, it shows that we have selected. We select when we want to be offended, right? And we also do it inside of our community as well, right? So, you can look past, people joke about whether it's Michael Jackson or whatever, like, it was one kid, right? Like, people he broke me out of the world, right? Like, people will look past it, right? Or whether it's R. Kelly, right? Or they will look past whoever it is. I mean, there's multiple, right? But when you get to you can't go and be a bank teller with the type of resume Donald Trump has.
You ain't lying.
The country. You know what I mean? But again, to your point, sometimes people are signing up for some of these things that are happening, or this level of power. We talked about men being unstable as well, right? For you to put yourself in these situations multiple times, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
And it is the society that we live in. What do we promote?
What I always say too, like when men, or just people in general, but specifically men, when they are predators or they sexually molest children, or they do all these crazy things, like, I think we never ever ask the question, what happened to them? I think that gets lost in the sauce of that whole conversation. And then you have men out here that are continuing to act that way. We have their uncles and their fathers or whoever. Like, no one ever asks what happened to the abuser.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Which is, to me, is like, that's like therapy 101. Like, what happened to you? You like little girls. Like R. Kelly. You can have any woman in the world in your heyday. And I remember that interview with Ed Gordon. This shit was so crazy.
He's like, so what do you mean?
He says, do you like teenagers? So what do you mean by teenagers?
Yeah.
Nigga, anybody whose age ends with the word teen.
Yeah.
Like, you're like 34.
Yeah,
like, what do you...
And but R. Kelly was molested by his mother.
And that has never... His brother, I think, talked about that. But that never gets talked about. And that's not making an excuse for R. Kelly.
To your point, is talking about what happened to the abuser. It's not an excuse, but when you look down with these generations of things that are happening, they learn that from somewhere.
Yeah.
That stuff happens from somewhere.
Or it could be the opposite. I'm gonna tell you this quick story. When I was in grad school, right, I was at Lincoln, and it was a group of us, the fellas. We always hung out. We'd go drink at lunch because we had like all day classes. Like on a Saturday, it'd be like 8 hours, and we have a lunch. We go get hammered, and we come back and finish out the day, right? So this dude, one of the dudes, I'm gonna call him Cliff because I don't want to put his name out there. But we will all be hanging out, kicking it, and the women to be walking through. He'd be the first one. Yo, she bad. Like, we went to grad school with some bad women, and we all be sitting there shooting the shit like men do, just talking about, oh yeah, she fast, she thick, whatever. So then one day we were doing oral presentations, and he stood up there, and I went early, so I can now I don't gotta focus no more. So I get mine out the way. So I'm sitting in the back of the class with my man and we chopping it up, and he was talking. I don't know what he said for the first 30 minutes, but then I heard him say, because I was sexually abused is the reason I would never hurt a child. And I was like, wait, what was that? But you would never know. And I applaud it, but not at the time. I wasn't that mature. But looking back on it now, I think I applaud his transparency in that situation. And my immaturity, it definitely made it weird because then he said he was gay. And we never knew he was gay. Because he would be right there with us. And again, I'm younger, so I'm like, I ain't with the gay dude. I would, But it was crazy. But he said because I was sexually molested, he says, I would never hurt a child, but I do believe that it played a part in me being an homosexual. And me and my man, was in the background. He talking about more chicks than everybody. But he put that out there, dude. And this is the crazy part. It was going into Christmas break.
Wow.
It's like oral presentations, then Christmas break. Right. So we was coming back in January. And it was just never the same after that. Like the crew was like, and then you saw him hanging out with women.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Yeah. But you think about the pressure, probably the release it got off of him to even say that. And it's probably more acceptable or comfortable for him to say that in front of a crowd of people, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to his boys. But it also goes back to saying that we have to definitely, as men, really talk about some of the things that we deal with. And it may not be as extreme as what he went through.
Right.
But it could be the smallest thing.
And it was his father that did this to him up until he was 16.
Think about that.
He said that. And I was like, at 16, you're probably a fairly big kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but the psychological damage that allows this to still happen is phenomenal, not in a phenomenal way, but phenomenal. Like, this is
real.
This is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So that's, when you go back to and we probably had to get back to the topic about how, how good it actually is. 'Cause that's crazy transition, right? But it also goes back to say, like, when my advice again to men and also women, we have to continue to speak about the things that are bothering us or that we deal with. But women, you have to listen.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think
without judgment.
And I think the thing you want the world to change, you want this climate to change. And I'm not putting the 100% responsibility on women. But you guys carry it.
Yeah.
You want something to change, let a woman check you and watch what happens.
Absolutely.
Right. And if you create that soft space, you will start to see things about men change because we just don't have no defense for y'all. Right, the sheer topic within itself tells you that, right? But a woman that's willing to listen and walk us through some of these things, you will see you'll see the powerful man on the other side of that. I think that's a big deal.
We definitely need to have, if we're in heterosexual relationships, we definitely need to have that confidence in our partner. And, be able to express ourselves and not without feeling judged. I often ask women, this is how I work with a bunch of women at my job, right? So we were having a conversation one day and I said, if your man that you love, he's a great man, he's a great provider, he's a great partner, he's all these things that women say they want in a man, told you that in college he had one gay experience. Is he gay? Could you still be with him? And everybody said, hell no, he got to go. I said, he makes 6 figures. You live out in the suburbs. He treats you like a queen. I said, you telling me this one thing wipes out all of his good? Yeah. Like women, we talk about men being judgmental. Women some judgmental mofos if we want to keep it funky. But that makes men afraid to go to them with their heart and put it out there. Yeah, but we don't live in secret.
Well, we don't really want to keep it funky when it comes to that. I don't know if women can handle. If a man was completely honest with you about his experience with you, I don't know if you can stand it.
I think so.
Not to say you can't get through the conversation because you want to hear it, but the relationship is going to ultimately change. You heard they were eating Shaq up earlier when I was watching The View. Yeah, I watched The View.
I heard what he said.
Right, so Shaq said, I think the question to him was, can you open up to a woman? He said, absolutely not. Because eventually she's going to throw it in your face.
Yep.
Right? Absolutely not. But Shaq can say that, right? That's just one man. But there are many of us that feel like that.
Absolutely.
Right? And sometimes the incompatibility, to take it back to the conversation about having sex with these women that are unstable, is based sometimes off of just that. Absolutely. I just need to be free in this moment for the next 20 minutes without judgment, conversation. She gonna listen, we gonna do what we need to do, and we done.
Yeah.
Right?
But then she outside the crib like this.
Yeah. But here's the thing. We may be willing to deal with the crazy because at least we can get it out as vulnerable.
You can be free. Yeah, nah, that's a good point.
I feel like I can control your crazy. What you gonna do to me?
I don't feel like that.
But here's the thing. But we
crazy like water.
We think
You
about
can't
that
control
for
water.
we think about that for like 10 minutes. Like, all right. What's she really gonna do?
Yeah,
Like,
because I'm bigger and stronger than you. Yeah, and
Right.
I think we convince ourselves.
We convince ourselves
I've done it. I've done
What
it.
you
Yeah,
really
I've
gonna
done
do?
it.
All right, get out.
Like you, at the end of the day, I know you physically
Can't
can't
do
whoop my
nothing.
ass.
That's 100%.
Like at the end of the day,
Yeah,
I believe
right. That's a
because I
fact.
would never mess with any woman who I feel like could take me physically.
Yeah, right.
Like if you was like if you was in the WWE and you was
Yeah,
one of
you
them
might
6 foot
knock me
muscles
out.
and your arms bigger than mine, we really can't talk because if you get mad at me, it might be a wrap for me.
It's a problem.
And you can't come back from that.
No. Not
Shorty
at all.
knocks you out. You can't even call the police and report it because the officer's going to show up and be like, hold on, what happened?
She stayed in front of the door. It's over. You just gotta lay down. You can't move her. Where you going? Where you going?
But we say all that to say when it's good, we're willing to take those chances. I think when you're young, and I'm sure some old cats out here that are still foolish, but I think when you're younger, you're definitely willing to take that chance.
Yeah.
When you know this girl can't stand her dad, she has a bad relationship with him, she has a bad relationship with her mom. Like she has no positive relationships. How do you and her become a positive situation outside of the bedroom?
Because she ain't got to deal with that with you. Like sometimes it may not even be that deep. Like I think that once you get to know that, then you have a decision to make. But sometimes inside of that initial 1 or 2 conversations, that stuff doesn't come out. You just know that she's this and she does that and she does this and does that, and that's it.
But once we find out, Corey, we still often don't bail out.
That's to your point. That's a fact, and that's where we have a problem.
We hang in there.
We're not bailing out of that situation.
And when we getting that feeling from her, we be like, man, fuck this, I'm gonna take my chances.
And here's the thing: we've already survived it twice, right?
That is true.
Right? We already survived. I smashed with no condom and I didn't get you pregnant twice. I can do it again.
Yeah,
that's the stuff
yeah.
we tell ourselves, right? So like, all right, man. Like, I'm gonna try it again.
And getting a crazy, unstable person pregnant, because she gonna have it.
What?
And here come another little crazy, unstable person in the world because of her genetics. And here we go. We all get to have jobs because men are irresponsible and they'll continue to do it now.
Shout out to the unstable women out there.
Shout out to the unstable women that create unstable children so we can all eat. And send my kid to St. Mark's, put my kid through college in Atlanta. This is the Tito's really talking. All right, listen, y'all.
That's crazy.
Listen. Thank you guys so much
The gift that keeps
for
on giving.
joining us tonight, man. Corey Wilkerson, I always appreciate your transparency, your intelligence on all topics. Rebirth, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I love you.
Anytime, I love it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So listen, y'all join us next Monday. We'll be back. Shell be in the building, and we're gonna do what we're gonna do. Rebirth gonna rebirth at all times. See you next Monday at 7. Peace.